happening at some point this summer is the eventual first face-to-face meeting between Todd Monken and Myles Garrett. Zach, you were there on Wednesday, when a reporter asked Todd Monken if he had met face-to-face with Myles Garrett yet, and he gave a quote for the ages. In case you missed it, this is exactly what Todd Monken said when asked the direct question, Coach, have you met face-to-face with Myles Garrett yet? He said, quote, no, end quote. G. Bush, I don't want to make this a bigger deal than it has to be. He doesn't have to be at voluntary OTAs. I just find it a little weird that 5 months into Todd Monken's tenure as the head coach of the Browns, he has not met with the best player on the team. Do you find it weird at all, or am I looking too far into it?
No, I'll give you an example. So when I was, as a freshman, I loved my coach. Shout out to Coach McCartney. I loved them. They recruited me. And at the end of my regular freshman year, they all got upgraded jobs and went to Wake Forest, the whole staff. And I was just like, I'm like, this is before the transfer portal. So I'm looking around like, listen, I did not sign up for this. I don't know these new dudes. And so they called me and were like, hey, what are you thinking? Like, we got our new coach. He's still on the staff because we had a holdover from, our other staff, Brian Noor. And I was just like, man, I was just like, man, look, I'm not answering them phone calls because at the time I was salty. And finally, it got to a point where I realized, my mom and dad just picked up the phone for me. And they're like, yeah, is your school still free? Shut up and answer the phone, dog. School free? They made the decision for me. It wasn't no option. So they was like, yeah, you go get in this car, you going back. But I was salty for a little bit. I'm like, bro, change is difficult. Change is tough. Change happens when your kids go from 2nd to 3rd grade and they got a new teacher and they apprehensive. You're like, oh my gosh, Mr. Johnson was the best ever. You got to meet new people and that's devastating for Myles Garrett, who just broke the all-time sack record, and he obviously loved Jim Schwartz, had the best year of his career. Anybody's going to be a little apprehensive a little bit if they have a new guy. So, but here's the thing. Myles Garrett will get over it. He'll be fine. And as long as Todd Monken he feels like he's going to come out there and rush the passer and get him some sacks, Todd Monken's not going to care. I don't think he needs to be best friends with Myles Garrett. He just needs some sacks.
Yeah, no, this is weird. And Mike, to me, it's like when you're phrasing, if you use the term weird, I kind of lean towards no, because this is what Myles does. Myles is on Myles' schedule. Myles is on Myles' itinerary, and it's been proven time and time again that the Browns can't and have no interest in making Myles do anything out of what he needs to do. And why does that go up? Because he shows up and does it. And last year was really his biggest temper tantrum. It ended up with him getting a big raise and Jim Schwartz saying he's going to have his best year. He did. He broke a record. So what's different this time and what's weird and what's whatever adjective you choose is the Browns are again in a weird spot. They have a new coach that Myles has made the personal choice repeatedly not to meet. And Myles and the team did the contract adjustment back in late March that they didn't have to do, that came out of nowhere, that opens the door. So we are all left wondering why. And only Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam and Myles Garrett know what is or isn't going on with that. But Todd keeps giving this answer for multiple reasons, but Myles could squelch it. He's just chosen not to at this point.
I just keep thinking back. David Blatt's hired by the Cavs. The Cavs had no idea LeBron was coming back when they hired David Blatt. LeBron comes back. Will not talk to David Blatt. David Blatt had to fly to New York to the set of LeBron's movie in order to meet LeBron. And it just feels like we're doing it all over again. I mean, Myles told you he wanted Jim to get the job. He tweeted out the picture that he tweeted out when it went to Todd. Myles has been in town multiple times. I don't care about OTAs right now. He's been in town multiple times to go to Cavs games. Never thought to swing by the facility and say hello. No. He's sending a message. You can say whatever you want. He's sending a message. And I'm not saying it's going to end one way or another, but yeah, it's certainly, of course it's a thing. Minor thing, major thing, whatever. It's a thing that he hasn't met the head coach yet. He's telling you without telling you how he feels about it. He's made his emotions clear. You could be right. He'll show up when he's supposed to show up. He'll meet him then. and maybe this all blows over. But we all know how it ended between David Blatt and LeBron. Blatt was out a year later. LeBron had no use for him. I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen here, but I've seen this enough times.
Well, and that's what's interesting, is Myles has that kind of gravitational pull, right? But he doesn't have that kind of leverage.
No, he doesn't.
Because he is right now is the best player on a great defense that's still complemented by a crappy offense and a team that we don't think is ready to win.
If he had the leverage to call the coach, then it would be Jim here now.
Sure.
Jim would be the head coach.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's a little bit of it too. Like, hey, look, man, that was my guy. I felt like, and he probably stood up on the table and said that was his guy and made it be known. They went in a different direction. He might be a little salty. I remember going back to The Last Dance, and I started to realize how this thing actually works in real life. It pushed my mind back. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest competitors of all time, he rode Scottie Pippen. I mean, told him, hey, man, Scottie wanted him to give me a new contract. Nah, I ain't doing that. I mean, he bullied Steve Kerr. Like, that was bullying.
Punched him in the face.
Punched him in the mouth, dog. That's crazy. Horace Grant still has, like, scars, emotional scars from the way he treated that man. And you know what Michael Jordan did? He went to Phil Jackson and said, hey, Phil, hey, man, Dennis need to blow off some steam. Let me co-sign. Let's send him out to Vegas and go out and hang out in the club and do God knows what. This is a family program. Dennis Rodman was out there kicking it with Carmen Electric Cook. And then they had to go back and show up to get him to come on back.
To knock on the door. Go get
come
him.
on back. It's your time is up. When I heard that, and Jordan, and they won 6 in a row, what I realized is that behind the scenes, you'll never understand when you got talent like that and when you can just do what you want in terms of getting after the quarterback. Man, people gonna make all kind of concessions. They're gonna be like, listen, man, you tell me, even if he didn't want to show up to none of the OTAs. I remember Michael Strahan at the end of his career, when he broke the sack record, he like, man, listen, I'm about to get in some TV. I ain't dealing with y'all. Matter of fact, I might even come to no training camp at all. Like, he still showed up and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. I understand that's gonna happen with the Browns, but people with talent like that, generational talent, they have different rules, people.
And I want to make this clear, like, in a perfect world, I think we'd all prefer Myles to be here for OTAs, but no one's crushing him for not being here. This has nothing to do with Myles not being at OTAs. It just seems weird that 5 months into the tenure of a new head coach, you'd want to meet with your best player, get on the same page, have him buy in. And when he answered yesterday or on Wednesday, and Zach, you were there, like, I know we can't play the clip, and he literally just said no and moved on. There was a hint of annoyance in his face. You could see it. He's not good at hiding his emotions, as we alluded to.
Well, it was the same question and the same answer that he'd given before. But why is that? Well, because he hasn't met Myles Garrett.
I've said this about players before. Like, your personal time's your personal time. Do what you want with it. But the fact that he's been in Cleveland is the part that's weird. Like, it's not that he's off on world tours with his girlfriend and overseas and in Europe and just hasn't been back. He's been here. He's been in the city.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the part that makes it weird. Like,
what do you think the chances he shows up to Game 3 or Game 4 is?
I think the chances are good, unless he already had Memorial Day weekend plans.
Oh, he pulling up. Like, it's Game 3 and 4 because he don't know if they're coming back. I'm not going to miss my
This
time.
is a guy that loves basketball.
Yeah.
His brother was an NBA draft pick.
Yeah,
like Myles wanted to be a basketball player before he was a football player.
Yeah.
He has that official partnership with the Cavs. He loves. Look, here's the bottom line, guys. We're probably just spending our energy talking about this because it's something to talk about because it's May.
Yep.
And Myles Garrett's probably going to come back and play for the Browns and get another raise. And eventually, even though Andrew Berry won't say it and Myles won't say it, they'll probably just go on and do this dance. But the bottom line is, like, if you're really trying to build a culture, and the most talented guy that all these 21-year-olds are bringing in the locker room to look up to is on his own schedule, that's not the best thing for culture. Myles having 5 sacks in a game is the best thing for results, but having that divide, having that go on is not the best thing for culture.
Hey, man, if you're a homeowner, your roof is leaking, but your car need new brakes, you're not tripping over the brakes, dog. Myles Garrett's the brakes. You can get brake pads anytime. They're relatively inexpensive. Just don't let them get to the rotors. But if your house is leaking, and you got water in your house, nothing strikes fear in your heart. Then you hear water dripping somewhere. You're like, hold on, what the hell? What? Nah. That is, what are you doing at quarterback? So Todd Monken's job, he's been given one directive. Come in, get this offense ready to go, figure out if you got a quarterback, and let's see if we can cook. he ain't even really worried about no Myles Garrett. You're like, listen, I mean, he'll show up and get sacks. But if the Browns' offense is good, that's the least of his concerns is Myles Garrett, because Myles will be in shape. Myles will get after the quarterback. And to be truthful, Myles is super durable. I mean, he's like, he flipped his car and then played like 2 days later. Like, I don't know. He has adamantium. He has, like, I don't know. Like, he's like Juggernaut the Hawk. Like, he just plays. So, all right, well, we'll see when you show up. We'll catch you when it counts. So, yeah, I think it's not a big deal. And I think Todd Monken actually be trolling a little bit too. He could have gave you some extra on that back end of that, couldn't he, Jason? He's just like,
Well, if you want the guy to be honest,
yeah, they'd be like, no.
Well, I'll say this. Todd has now twice kind of given off the impression that he's tired of answering questions about quarterbacks. Well, Todd, you signed up for this job.
That's right.
And so until you meet Myles Garrett, because he's Myles Garrett, we're going to ask, and you're going to have to answer that too.
Yep.
Yeah, listen, we'll get to it, man. Coming back, I think we're going back to Cavs, right?
Yeah, let's talk about how the Cavs can dig out of this 0-2 hole. We don't have a show tomorrow, so we're going to preview Game 3 and Game 4 coming up in 2 minutes on UCSS.